Good evening everyone, and can I add my very warm welcome to everyone this evening. I'm John McVicker and I'm Secretary of Old Park Cave Hill Royal British Legion. I'm also involved with a project called Rolling Road Shankill Remembers. Before we move on, bearing in mind that this is the centenary year of the formation of the Royal Air Force, and the roll call will focus on those young men who made that sacrifice during the First World War. But I've been asked just to read a short list of Ulster airmen who died during the Battle of Britain. Some of these were known as the few. Sergeant S. Ireland, killed July 12, 1940. Sergeant J.B. Thompson, killed July 31st, 1940. Squadron Leader A.D.J. Lovell, killed August 17th, 1945. Pilot Officer D. Whitley, killed August 28th, 1940. Pilot Officer A.W.V. Green, killed September 11th, 1940. Sergeant S.A. Fenmore, killed October 15th, 1940. Pilot Officer M.I.D. Green, killed October 20th, 1940. Wing Commander J.V.C. Badger, killed June 30th, 1941. Wing Commander K.W. Mackenzie, who survived the war. Squadron Leader W.W. McConnell, who survived the war. Sergeant V.H. Skillen, killed March the 11th, 1941. Sergeant J.K. Kerr, killed November 6th, 1940, and who's buried at Dundonald Cemetery, just as a matter of interest. I visited his grave just last year on behalf of the Battle of Britain Historical Society. Sub-Lieutenant W. Beggs, killed November 15th, 1942. Flight Lieutenant M. Cameron, who survived the war. Sergeant T.C.E. Berkeley, killed June 14th, 1941. Air Vice Marshal F.D. Hughes, who survived the war. Squadron Leader N.H. Corey, survived the war. Flight Lieutenant H.R. Clark, survived the war. Squadron Leader R.R. Wright, who survived the war. Sergeant J. McConnell, killed February 20th, 1941. Squadron Leader A.D.J. Lovell. Pilot Officer M.I.D. Green. Wing Commander F.V. Beamish, who survived the war. Sergeant J. McAdam, killed February 20th, 1941. Pilot Officer C.R. Montgomery, killed August 14th, 1941. And also served in Bay of All was Stuart Hazlitt, who flew with Bomber Command. And for anyone who recognises the surname, this was the brother of the late Albert Hazlitt. 156612 Squadron Leader James Brown Warwick, who was born in 1921 at 986 Crumlin Road, Liganeel, in a house called Avonlea. So that's a small tribute to those who fought in the Second World War.
Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we come to that part of the evening where we stand back and our young people take over. And it gives me great pleasure now to put you into the hands of Sam, who looks after all these young men, people. We have the Army Cadets at Glenwood Detachment, we've got Training Ship Eagle, and we have 1919 Training Squadron of RAF. So I think we're ready for the march on, are we, Sam?
PS Eagle, then the captain ACF, 1990, now squadron number 8. Sir, I will have you leave. Would you expect? Sir, please. Thank you very much, sir. Right. Stand east! Stand easy.
Thank you very much, Sergeant. Dame Windsor Hawkins, honoured guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your invite to this community remembrance service, and it's a great privilege to represent the Royal Air Force here in the Spectrum Centre. I have been in the Spectrum Centre before, but it was a long time ago in the 80s when it was a community centre. I regularly visited. It's great to see so many of our young people here today, members of our cadet organisations. It's so important to the future. It's vital that the young people of today understand the significance of events such like these. 2008 is a key year really on two main fronts. The 100th anniversary of the end of the Great War, and of real significance to us folk in blue, the 100th anniversary from the 1st of April 1918 of a major milestone with the world's first independent Royal Air Force. From the early days of flight through the years of dedicated service to the modern day, where servicemen and women form part of today's Royal Air Force, leading the way in the delivery and development of not just air power but also space power, as space power has been devolved to the Royal Air Force. Staying with the Royal Air Force, the RAF 100, as we call it, allows us to commemorate the past, to celebrate what we do for the nation today and to inspire the next generation. The three themes then being commemorate, celebrate and inspire. Not many people know that Northern Ireland made a real significant contribution to the very early days of flight. In 1913, the Royal Flying Corps made the very first sea crossing between mainland Britain and actually Newcastle, County Down. But it wasn't all plain sailing, so to speak, because one of the aircraft crashed into the beach in Newcastle. But there was real valuable lessons learned at that point, which subsequently taught them those lessons to allow in 1914 the Royal Flying Corps to make the journey across the English Channel into France. Many Ulstermen, of course, joined the Royal Flying Corps and went on to serve in the Royal Air Force. It would be wrong of me not to remember the men of the 36th Ulster Division, formed in September 1914, who fought bravely in many campaigns and most notably at the Somme. At the Somme, in just 2 days, 5,500 were either killed, wounded or lost. Philip Gibbs, who was a very eminent war correspondent at the time, actually said, "Their attack was one of the finest displays of human courage ever in the world," and I think that just sums it up. Such was the gallantry that out of the 9 Victoria Crosses that were awarded from the Battle of the Somme, 4 of those went to soldiers of the 36th Ulster Division. We must also, of course, remember the 16th Irish Division, again formed in 1914, mostly recruits from the southern counties, but many Ulstermen joined the 16th Irish and sadly made the ultimate sacrifice. In all, 2010 Irishmen fought in World War I, which is very, very significant because it was the only part of the United Kingdom at that point where we didn't have conscription, and I think that's testament to just the nature of the people on this island. Staying with the World War I theme, I really think that we should encourage everybody at some stage in their life to pay a visit to the Somme or Flanders, stand on the ground that so many fellow countrymen, relatives and heroes have walked, fought and have made the ultimate sacrifice. It's that sacrifice that we commemorate tonight here in the Shankill and throughout the country in November. Not only World War I, but all the conflicts where our military and countless civilian support workers served with such excellence. We will remember them, and once again, thank you very much.
would I invite the cadets to take the floor in preparation for the act of remembrance. Ladies and gentlemen, are taking their place on the floor for the act of remembrance. This year's roll call will be done by the Air Training Corps, and they will mention 12 names from the Royal Flying Corps of the First World War.
Captain Leslie Porter, Military Cross and 2 Bar, 45th Squadron, Royal Flying Corps, died 24th October 1917, aged 34, lived Callans Bay, County Down.
Private Second Class, Class Walter Ambrose Sterling, 310462, Royal Air Force, died 5th November 1918, aged 14, lived in Belfast.
Second Lieutenant Hayden Floyd, 11th Squadron Royal Flying Corps, died 11th of July 1916, aged 19, lived County Down.
Lieutenant Henry Joe McCracken, 111th Squadron Royal Flying Corps, died 17th of October 1917, aged 21, lived Belfast.
Second Lieutenant John Pyle, 12th Squadron Royal Flying Corps, died 29th of April 1917, aged 19, lived in Dublin.
Lieutenant William Shields, 45th Squadron, Royal Flying Corps, died 5th of September 1917, aged 20, lived in Belfast.
Lieutenant David Statley, Royal Flying Corps, died 26th of August 1917, aged 29, lived in Belfast.
Captain Ernest William Brett, Flight Commander 29th Squadron, Royal Flying Corps, died 19th of September 1916, aged 26, lived in County Down.
Second Lieutenant Wilfred Foreman Coulter, 24th Squadron, Royal Flying Corps, died 6th of March 1918, age 19, lived Clonskeagh, County Dublin.
Lieutenant David Harden Scott, Military Medal, 65th Squadron Royal Flying Corps, died the 12th of November 1917, aged 21, lived County Down.
Captain Sidney Edward Coyne, Military Crossing, 2 Bars, 29th Squadron Royal Flying Corps, died 17th of November 1916, aged 19, lived Castleknock, County Dublin.
Captain Sidney Edward Coyne, Military Cross and 2 Bars, 29th Squadron Royal Flying Corps, died 17th of November 1916, aged 19, lived Castleknock, County Dublin.
Ladies and gentlemen, the bell will tone 12 times.
Honoured guests, ladies and gentlemen, please be standing for our act of remembrance.
Let us remember before God and commend to his sure keeping those who have died for their country in war, those whom we knew, and those whose memory we treasure, and all who have lived and died in the service of mankind. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them. When you go home, tell them of us and say, for your tomorrow, we gave our today. Thank you, and please be seated.
I'm going to ask William Humphrey now to come to the lectern. There's a couple of announcements, and I think he wants to introduce a friend of his.
So just on behalf of the Old Park Cave Hill branch of the Royal British Legion, and as an honorary Vice Chair of the City of Belfast Army Benevolent Fund, welcome a number of people tonight. Dame Patricia Windsor-Hawkins, as Bobby has said, and her husband Peter Windsor-Hawkins, who are no stranger to our road and have been here on a number of occasions. Unfortunately, Brenda Hale was meant to be with us, but she got a flat tire and stuck in the waterbed at the moment, so I've been asked to apologise for her. Squadron Leader CJ Hodges, Nicola Werner, the manager of the centre here, the Reverend David Kale, the new Reverend at the Belfast Synagogue, and this week in particular we would say to you our thoughts and prayers are with you and the Jewish community here, and we stand with you in this city. Musavral Kale, Acting Robertson at the Belfast Synagogue, Dr. Leslie Leopold of the Belfast Jewish Community, Andy Allen, MLA, and I would also like to thank the Reverend Colin Duncan for all that he has done in preparing this religious service for us tonight in remembrance of those who have gone before and paid the supreme sacrifice for peace and democracy and against evil in this part of the kingdom, but also for the work that he and his colleagues have done in this road over the last number of weeks, as we remembered, as we did last week, the evil that was the Shankill bomb 25 years ago. It's my honour and privilege tonight to welcome someone who's a good friend of mine, someone who's a great supporter of the armed forces and of many of the armed forces charities. Mr. Paul Clark, MBE, you will know him, you probably recognise him from TV, but I have to tell you, he is behind the scenes someone who does a tremendous job of work right across many of our army charities, and he's here tonight to talk about his family's experiences, and I think in particular the 36th Ulster Division. Mr. Paul Clark.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I come as a guest tonight. I'm not sure what you expect to hear from me right now, but I come here at a very deeply personal level because two families, two representatives of my own family, fought in both world wars. My great-uncle Donald Clark was a YCD. He was in the 14th Battalion of the Royal Irish Rifles. I wear his miniatures tonight. He was there on the first day of the Battle of the Somme. He didn't die until 1980, living long enough to know that it wasn't the Great War to end all wars. And I had an uncle who was in the Royal Air Force in the Second World War, Lester Curry, who did not survive. He was killed, shot down, coming back from a low-level raid into France on the 23rd of July 1942. He has no known grave. He was shot down over the Channel, but is remembered at the memorial to the missing at Runnymede. And then, when I come in here tonight and I see Andy Allen MLA, I realise that what we commemorate here tonight is not something that happened a long, long time ago, but it is something that is happening right here, right now. And I've always felt very deeply about the service that people have made to our country, from so many different generations, from my grandfather's generation, my uncle's generation, this current generation of mine, and then of course the generation that has followed. I've been privileged to have made a couple of programs out in Afghanistan. I've seen the work, the difference that has been made out there. But I've also seen, in knowing Andy, the high price that was paid. So I hope that tonight, while we are here to remember, we're not thinking about commemoration and remembrance as being something from the past, but it is something that is very current as well. And I also want to say to the young people who are here tonight, the cadets who are so well turned out, that the First World War might seem to have been something from ancient history, from a long, long time ago. And there's a sense in which 100 years ago was. But there's another sense in which we have lived with the echoes of that time to the present day. Because without the First World War, there wouldn't have been the Second. There wouldn't have been the rise of communism and fascism. And without the Second World War, there wouldn't have been the issues that have affected this world to the present day. And so I say to those people who are cadets with the Army, the Navy and the Air Force, that we look to you, and we look to the resolve that you will have if you decide to go further and to join the services full-time. We applaud you, we thank you, but we can't do that in isolation, because you cannot be here tonight without the support of your families. And so I say to the families who are here tonight, well done to you. And could I ask all of us, please, to give a round of applause to our cadets. And also, I have been very privileged in my day job to have been able to tell so many stories about the Great War and about subsequent wars and our more recent history in Northern Ireland too. This tie that I'm wearing tonight is not the tie that I wore at 6 o'clock. It's not the tie I'll be wearing at 10:30 when I do the late news again. But I could not wear it tonight because this is the tie of the Ulster Division. And it is used as the tie of the Somme Association, of which I am a member. So I couldn't come onto the Shankill Road tonight and not wear the tie of the 36th Ulster Division, mindful that following the 1st of July 1916, this road bled. This city bled. And there are people who had nothing to celebrate that year on the 12th of July. And that was one of those occasions when the 12th of July was cancelled. It didn't happen, because there was nothing to commemorate. And the flowerhood of the manhood of this city, of this island, was bleeding. And so we remember them all, from north and south, east and west. And I hope that you have had a good night in the best possible sense. And that as we come into Remembrance Week, we will remember all of those who have served our country and who have paid the supreme sacrifice. Thank you very much.
Your target? March off.
Have your permission to take out the march to that on the way. Sir, will you please take salute? Thank you very much. Parade will move to the right in column of route. Right! Turn! Parade will march past in column of route. By the centre! Quick, march!
Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this year. God spares us all, that we're all here next year. Thanks very much to the band. Thank you very much for coming along. And thanks to the young people.